The mirror that knew too much. When Alex moved into the old abandoned house, he found a mirror that wasn't like any other. It wasn't the dust, the dirt, or the cracks in the glass. It was the reflection. It didn't match reality. At first, it was small things. His reflection smiled when he didn't. It blinked when he was staring. He laughed it off. He told himself, "It's just my imagination." But one night he woke up to the mirror glowing faintly in the dark. He sat up and saw himself standing in front of the mirror, still asleep in bed. The reflection pointed at him and whispered a word he couldn't hear. Terrified, Alex threw a blanket over the mirror, burying his head under the covers, trying to convince himself it was all in his head. But then he heard footsteps approaching his bed, footsteps that weren't his. He peeked over the edge of the bed and saw the mirror. The blanket had been pulled off by an invisible hand, and there stood his reflection, or something that looked exactly like him, but wasn't. Its eyes glowed an eerie green in the darkness. Alex screamed and scrambled back, knocking over his bedside table. The creature in the mirror mimicked his movements, its face contorted in a horrifying grin. It raised a finger to its lips, shushing him. Then it stepped out of the mirror, its form flickering like a candle flame in the wind. Alex, paralyzed with fear, watched as it approached him, its eyes boring into his. The creature reached out a hand, its touch freezing him like a statue. And in that moment, he knew he wasn't just looking into a mirror, he was facing a demon. Desperate to escape, Alex stumbled back, tripping over his own feet and knocking himself unconscious. He awoke to find himself lying on the floor, the mirror and its shards scattered around him. Had it been a dream? Rubbing his aching head, he looked around for the mirror, needing to see if what he'd experienced was real. But the mirror was gone. Confused and scared, he searched the room, his heart pounding in his chest until he saw it. Tucked behind a wardrobe, almost hidden from sight. Relief washed over him as he realized it hadn't followed him. He could escape this, run away from the nightmare. But then a strange feeling came over him, an overwhelming urge to return the mirror to the pawn shop. As he picked it up, the cool glass sending shivers down his spine, he felt compelled to do whatever it wanted. It was as if the mirror had a hold on him, controlling his every move. He drove to the pawn shop, the mirror resting heavily in his lap. Bursting through the door, he shouted, "I brought it back!" Startled by his own outburst, he looked around for someone, anyone to help him, but there was no one there. He was alone. And then he heard a voice. "Put it down." Turning slowly, he saw the old shopkeeper standing in front of him, his face pale and drawn. "Put it down," the shopkeeper whispered, his eyes wide with fear. "You can't sell it. It's yours now, forever." Understanding dawned on Alex. This mirror, this cursed object, was somehow connected to the shopkeeper, and he was destined to suffer the same fate. With a sudden surge of strength, Alex smashed the mirror, sending shards flying everywhere. Relief flooded him as the pieces hit the ground, the image of the demon fading from view. Panting heavily, he watched as the last shard hit the floor, expecting it to be over. But then he saw movement. The shards were moving, pulling themselves together, forming a new mirror, and in its depths he saw the demon grinning at him, its eyes gleaming with triumph. As the screen faded to black, the text appeared, "Some reflections are more real than reality." The end.